Here is part 2 of our facts. Next one. The longest lasting tropical cyclone went on for 31 days. August and September of 1994 saw one of the most unique tropical cyclones ever experienced. Hurricane, also Typhoon John. John travelled from the Eastern Pacific to the Western Pacific and then back to Central Pacific, covering an astonishing 7,165 miles or 13,280 kilometers. Because it existed on both sides of the Pacific, it's known as both as a hurricane and a typhoon. Next one. A town in France is one of the windiest in the world. Granted, the katabatic winds of Antarctica and the roaring 40s winds, 40 to 50 degrees south of the equator, that rip through the Pacific Ocean are both a force to be reckoned with. But there's a small fishing village in France that is pretty much constantly windy. Grecian, located in France's Mediterranean coast, is a traditional fishing village that experiences winds over 18 miles or 28.9 kilometers an hour for an average of 300 days a year. Dominated by the Tramontane, a strong wind from the northwest, you'd be lucky to see Grecian when it isn't gusty. Next one. A yodel can't cause an avalanche. Contrary to what we've seen in countless films and cartoons, yodeling and noise in general can't trigger an avalanche. Research has shown that only the loudest sonic boom could potentially trigger an avalanche under the most sensitive conditions. Instead, avalanches are mostly caused due to weight changes after the weather and existing snow conditions are susceptible to an avalanche trigger. Snowfall, wind-deposited snow, and even skiers and snowmobiles can apply enough pressure to cause an avalanche. Next. The longest recorded dry period lasted 14 years. Spanning 14 years, a total of 173 months, the world's longest drought lasted from October 1903 to January 1918. During this time, not a single drop of precipitation fell in Arica in northern Chile. Next. A heat wave once turned grapes into raisins before they were picked. After a record-level heat wave descended on North California during the first weekend of September in 2017, many Bay Area wine producers were left with grapes that had turned into raisins before even picking. Scorching temperatures of 38 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit and higher left the vines severely dehydrated, and some of the state's most notable wine-growing regions of Napa and Sonoma faced uncertainty whether there would be enough grapes to harvest. Next. Hurricane Harvey changed rain maps forever. With more than 30 inches or 76 centimeters of rain falling in just a few days in southeastern Texas, the National Weather Service had to update its rain accumulation map with a new color, lavender, to effectively display the graphics. On August 27th of 2017, Houston alone received 16.7 inches or 40.8 centimeters of rain, making it the wettest day in the city's history. Next. There is a record for greatest rainfall in a minute. Unionville in Talbot County, Maryland, holds the record for experiencing the greatest rainfall in a minute. Recorded on July 4th of 1956, 1.22 inches or 3 centimeters of rain fell in just a minute. In comparison, Hong Kong experienced some of the worst subtropical rainstorms in the world. However, its black rainstorm signal will only be used to warn the public when rainfall exceeds 2.75 inches or 7 centimeters in an hour. Next. Thunder and lightning are the same thing. Even though the light flash slicing through the sky and the following noise have two different names, they're technically the same thing. Only one is to do with light and the other is to do with sound. Due to the difference between the speed of light and the speed of sound, we see the flash first and only then hear the sound. First, light slices through air pressure in the atmosphere and we see lightning. It then retracts and the air pressure rushes back together, creating the thundering sound we're so familiar with. Next. Snow isn't actually white. Despite what our eyes telling us, the white stuff isn't really white, but rather translucent. When light reflects from the many individual sides of every snowflake, it's scattered in lots of directions, diffusing the entire color spectrum and making it appear white to the human eye. Translucent. Christmas doesn't sound that magical though, does it? Next, there's a snowflake catalogue. No matter how much we to believe every snowflake is unique, there are actually 39 kinds of solid precipitation, including 35 of them that are snow crystals or flakes, depicted in a graphic created by chemistry teacher Andy Bruning, who runs the chemistry blog Compound Interest. The snowflakes are categorized based on their individual properties. The graph also includes sleet, hail, and ice. Next, it almost never snows in Antarctica. Is our final one. You might be very surprised to hear this, but it also never rains or snows in Antarctica. It's actually a desert, and a particularly dry one at that. For precipitation to happen there needs to be humidity, and there's no humidity without heat, conditions that don't occur on the world's southernmost continent. However, when it does snow, the snow doesn't melt, and it is accumulated over thousands of years until it compresses and turns into ice. Time for a bedtime lesson.